Hello there. Oh, new teeth. That's weird. So where were we? Oh, that's right. It's the Doctor Who final of the 11 o'clock Waffle. On the show we have 4 super geeks, but who are they? You guys could feel free to laugh hysterically at that, because I put a little joke in. Or you could just be silent. First up, and on a 2 Waffle winning streak, the William Hartnell of Feckles. It's Chris Stanley.
The pinky and the brain, yes, pinky and the brain.
I like being compared to William Hartnell simply because there's an outtake during the 5 Doctors one where he just starts munching on some cheese in front of the camera because they've got some time to kill. So yes, completely and utterly mad, just the sort of thing I'd do. Edgar will remember that I used to go to Feckles rehearsals with packets of donuts and just eat them all, never offer them to anyone, just...
That's a lot of unhealthy dough.
I had a good metabolism at the time. My starveling costume got very sugary.
Next on the show, he would probably consider himself to be the self-styled master. In reality, with his track record of victories, he has more in common with a Dalek. Please welcome James Millar.
Yeah, I don't mind being compared to a Dalek, to be honest. They're quite fun, despite their lack of stair manoeuvrability.
Oh, they can do stairs now.
There you go, that shows how much I know.
And they can fix sinks, they've got a plunger.
That's true.
Tap hand in the kitchen. You alright, James?
Yeah, not bad. No complaints.
Good. Our third guest, and only female to make the final, which naturally makes her the companion of today's show. Please welcome back after a storming debut, Cathy Smedley.
Thank you. No being a companion. Surely I'm the first female Doctor. We're due for a change, are we not?
Yeah, we're getting enough. Yeah, Peter Capaldi.
Peter Capaldi in a skirt. That's a mental image. That's a mental image you're never getting rid of.
I don't think I want to. That's mad.
And finally, if you take the last letter of his first name and the first letter of his surname and switch them round, you get Doctor. Hello, Edgar Duncan.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good because apparently I'm the Doctor. That means I will defeat everyone and take victory.
Oldest secret hidden in plain sight.
The one you've been running from your whole life, Ed.
Yes, the name of the Edgar.
Okay, so this week's show is focusing on one of the country's greatest assets, the magnificent universe of Doctor Who. Coming up, 11 Doctors, 11 rounds. But do our guests know their Absorbaloff from their Zygon? It's time to find out. Let's allons-y. Question 1. And in an ironic twist on our Doctor Who special, if Doctor Who is the greatest science fiction show in British history, what is the second greatest? And we'll start with James.
I'm going to shock everybody here by saying that I don't particularly like Doctor Who. So, in my opinion, the greatest science fiction show in British history is Captain Scarlet and the Mysterons.
I used to have a Captain Scarlet lunchbox.
Captain Scarlet was wicked.
Wasn't it always quite obvious that Captain Black was evil there?
Oh yeah, he's not supposed to be thought of as a good guy because he is blatantly the bad guy. It's like I just love that it's just obviously Cold War propaganda.
I just wanted everyone to turn around at some point and go, "Why are you with us? We don't. You're clearly evil. Go away."
Captain Black.
That's actually quite racist once you think about it, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it's like it's Cold War propaganda. The bad guy's Captain Black, and then Captain Scarlet, who is red, is a defector. So it's these aliens that were hidden in plain sight, look like humans, infiltrating people. It was just blatantly like these Mysterons, the Russians. I thought it was amazing that he couldn't be killed except for being electrocuted. So you get all these episodes where they have these really elaborate things where the bad guys are trying to kill him, and he was just sat there like, yeah, it's not going to work.
It's just a precursor to Captain Jack Harkness, isn't it?
Kind of, yeah. I remember there's one episode where they've got him in like a harness, they dunk him in a big tank full of sharks, and you see him see the little puppet get ragged around by these shark things, and you're thinking, that's quite graphic for the kids, but then he's just not bothered at all afterwards.
I've got the image of a lot of kids then suddenly thinking, oh, if he could survive it, so could I. It's just like Where's
now,
Timmy?
where do we find some sharks?
Cornish coastline. Edgar next.
So many answers I could give. But there's only one I'm going to settle on. And that's Firefly. I thought I'd leave you hanging for a minute there. Because I genuinely love the characters actually in Firefly. And it really sort of makes it stand out for me much more than, say, I'm going to get hit on the head for this, but I never liked Star Trek, so it makes it stand out a lot more than something like that for me. And I think it has so many sort of amazing things. Like, if you look at the characters, and like the character of Jane, for instance, he's ruthless, but everything he does is undermined by the pure fact that he's actually not that intelligent, really, and he's hilarious. So everything he does is like subverted all the time, and all the characters are like that. It's just a great series. So that's my answer for that.
Okay, Christopher.
Hey.
I've gone with a slightly left of field one with Futurama. I know you all think I was going to say Lost in Space. I know Futurama, I think, when it first appeared was quite good timing because it was just going to be about turning into the millennium and just looking at various aspects. And I want those tubes from Futurama to actually exist. Those would be amazing. What?
They break our necks.
Well, in an awesome way. Yeah, probably need to get some neck guards or something. But,
I think scientists are working on them. I've heard.
Okay.
Well, what self-respecting
Don't quote me
scientists
on
wouldn't be working?
Scientists working on Automail.
But I just like there's just like little quirks of it, of like the Slurm sort of factory and things like that. The sort of parody of Willy Wonka, and also the one where the aliens are watching a sort of variation of Ally McBeal, and then they just lose the signal, and this causes them to attack Earth. I demand to know what happened to the compelling female lawyer and her compellingly short garment.
Don't forget Schnoo Schnoo.
Indeed, and Zoidberg. And
Death by Schnoo Schnoo.
Best death ever.
We
Yes.
execute you to death.
or
by
suicide.
Schnoo Schnoo.
Or suicide booths. I think, worryingly, those could actually become real. I could see someone inventing suicide booths. You have selected Slow and Horrible.
Okay, Cathy, what is the second greatest science fiction show?
Well, for me, it has to be Hitchhiker's Guide. There's just the pure fact of a bloke dropping down in the middle of your lawn and saying, right, we're going now, and just an ordinary bloke from, where was it? Somewhere in rural England, just being swept off on an adventure. That's brilliant. And being completely bemused by the entire thing. It's fantastic.
Sounds a bit like The Hobbit, when you put it like that.
Yeah.
It's just because Martin Freeman's in both films, Chris.
Yeah.
Okay, question 2 now. As the Time Lord has 2 hearts, sum up Doctor Who in just 2 words. Chris.
Don't blink.
Cathy.
Keep watching.
Edgar.
Erectile explosion.
What?
And James. Can you top erectile explosion?
Don't care.
Oh.
You've not really learnt how to win the waffle yet, have you, James, to be honest?
I've given up trying on this particular iteration of the waffle.
All that work of getting to the final, James. All that work.
It's all part of my dastardly scheme.
Okay, question number 3 now. Who is your favourite companion? And we'll start with Cathy on this one.
Oh, well, by far for me, it was a bit of a tough one because I quite like a lot of them. But Romana is my favourite from the 1970s, with Tom Baker.
Which one? Or is it just in general?
Just in general, they just seem the Romanas just seem to match up quite well with the Doctor himself. They provide a good match for him, especially in the episode where they go back in time and try to find the Mona Lisa. She was really good in that episode. I just can't remember the title of it right now.
City of Death. I love that one.
Yes, that one. He's dragging her around Paris, isn't it? I think.
Yeah.
Isn't that?
That's written by Douglas Adams. So.
Oh yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Isn't that the companion that Tom Baker was sort of seeing as well?
He briefly married one. Yeah, the one in City of Death, Lala Ward. He did marry her briefly before they divorced, and I think she married Richard Dawkins. Actually, if I remember rightly.
Okay,
Yeah.
Chris.
I've gone with Sarah Jane Smith because She's so awesome that they brought her back. I think the school reunion where she turns up was pretty awesome. And they kind of gave her her own spin-off series as well.
They did give her her own spin-off series.
Yeah, so she's clearly long-lasting. But there's a great line when she's with Tom Baker's doctor, where he sort of says, I'm a Time Lord. I'm 750 years old. And she just shoots back, oh, you're almost middle-aged. And it's just the sort of subtle humour. I think a sort of closely following Sarah J. Smith would probably be Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart, because he's awesome. And he shows that in science fiction, you don't need to be clever. You just need to be able to punch people. Punching will solve all your problems, kids.
There is an episode where he completely lays out the Doctor and runs off to go and shoot things, I think.
Yeah.
That's Sylvester McCoy's Doctor.
He just makes it part of his sort of, code of conduct, his sort of common courtesy. He's just like, oh no, there's the Master. Nice to see you again. Wallop.
Punch, yeah.
Yeah.
Knocks him out. It's good.
Okay. James, favourite companion?
Well, I've not really seen much Doctor Who, but so I'll just have to say whatever the one was called that Billie Piper played, because her eyebrows amused me.
Rose Tyler.
Okay, and Edgar last of all.
Dorothy, also known as Ace, actually, who was Sylvester McCoy's main companion, the Seventh Doctor. And she was amazing because she was just this sort of streetwise, sort of late teen who could really handle herself. That's what I really liked about her. Because she didn't take... Well, she wasn't like Jo Grant, which was the Third Doctor's companion for the most part, who just got captured and was really a bit ditzy and actually irritated the heck out of me. She actually did stuff. It's like, what's that? Dalek invasion? I'll get a baseball bat and smash it up. What's that? A wall? Oh, let's make some explosives and blow it up. I love it. I just think she has this really good attitude to everything, and she's a great pairing with the Seventh Doctor as well.
Yeah, I think with Joe they were just kind of going for a James Bond thing, where it's just like the bloke is doing the main stuff, including quite a lot of kung fu, and then the girl's just running around in skimpy outfits. That's what people want.
Yeah, but the good thing that came out of that, though, is as a response, we got Sarah Jane Smith afterwards.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing that came out of that.
Okay, time for the scores at the end of the first round. Big twist in last place, it's James.
Oh, who saw that one coming?
Yeah. Spoilers.
On 10 points, it's Cathy.
Woo!
On 11 points, it's Chris. And in the lead on 12, it's Edgar. Question number 4, and if you were trying to convert somebody to Doctor Who, which single episode would you show them to whet their appetite? Cathy.
Oh, well, it's a bit awkward, because what I want to show them is the dual episode of Family and Blood and Human Nature, because that really, for me, connects you with the Doctor himself and who he will become, who the Doctor is. You can see the fear in John Smith as he realises who he's going to become. Sorry, spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen the episode, but I just think that would really... The human interest in that episode and the inevitable alien invasion is a winner for me. So I'd have to go with Family and Blood, but try and knock them to watch Human Nature as well.
Good answer. James.
Well, of the very few episodes I've seen, my favourite was that one that Neil Gaiman wrote, with the thing that steals the TARDIS, because there was that really disturbing bit where he messes around with what's-his-face and who's her name, and makes him think that she's gone away, makes him think that he's been by himself for like hundreds of years, and he goes a bit crazy. I thought that was really
Amy
good.
and Rory in House.
Is that what they're called? Yeah. On the other side of that was my favourite one. I think if I made them watch that, then afterwards everything else would be a bit meh.
Me though, in that episode, House sounds like Gordon Brown.
He does sound a lot like Gordon Brown.
Fear me, I've killed hundreds of Time Lords.
What's more terrifying than that?
It is pretty terrifying. I think Gordon Brown would make quite a good villain.
Fear me, I led the economy into recession. Fear me, I led
I'm
all
here
of
to
them.
destroy your money.
Okay, Edgar.
I thought long and hard about this, and in the end, I chose the 11th Hour, which is Matt Smith's first episode, because I feel that, as an episode, is actually fantastic as a first as an opening door to Doctor Who, because you don't know who the Doctor is in this episode. And then throughout it, you sort of find out who this madman with the box is, and it gets unravelled. And as with it, also comes this sort of alien that can shapeshift as well. It's pretty terrifying, but at the same time, it really shows you what the Doctor is all about, and that even if he has nothing besides a companion who's sort of there for the ride at the time, he can solve what's going on. And he can do it brilliantly. And there's this wonderful scene at the end of that as well, where he speaks about, is this planet protected? And the villain of this piece, well, not so much the main villain, one of the villains of the piece, the Atraxi, he goes through all of the past things of the Doctor, sort of things that he's done. And he goes, yeah, it is. And the Doctor goes, well, I'm the Doctor.
Run.
It's brilliant. So, yeah, it's a good introductory episode.
I remember watching that. I was up in the Midlands with my grandparents. I was watching it with my granddad. It's probably the first episode he'd seen since the 60s or the 70s. And he started going, well, Doctor Who's changed a bit. Okay, and Chris, last of all.
I'm going to go with the one that actually whetted my appetite, I reckon it's one you can watch every year, so it's got that appeal, which is the Christmas Invasion. It's got everything. It's got shooting Santas. It's got the Sycorax. It's got brilliant running jokes like Harriet Jones constantly having to remind people that she's Prime Minister, and even the Sycorax going, yes, we know who you are.
It's got the Lion King.
It's got a spinning, murderous Christmas tree. Yes, it also has the Lion King, and it has the main villain being killed by a Satsuma, which I think is quite.
No second chance.
And it has one of Lucy's favourite things as well, David Tennant in bed.
In a dressing gown, yeah, killing a murderous Christmas tree with a sonic screwdriver, and all these brilliant things, and also the fact that it's all these things that should scientifically work to get help the Doctor get over his regeneration. No, they're not considered. Tea, yes, because really he's a tiny bit British. He just needed some tea being spilled on him, and he can defeat all the aliens. But I also like at the end. It actually gets quite serious when Harriet Jones launches Torchwood to kill off the Sycorax, and the Doctor gets quite furious and brings her down with 6 words.
Don't you think she looks tired?
Which is very clever. I thought that was really good, because for most of it, David Tennant is very cheery and chirpy, but he sort of turns at that bit. And I thought that was quite good for explaining the Doctor and his character a bit more.
Thank you, Chris. I think you're probably the only contestant today to do the entire episode in their answer. From start to finish.
Very, very concise, considering it's about an hour.
Okay, question, where are we up to? Number 5. Which villain do you fear the most? James?
The dream guy. Was it the Doctor's subconscious or something that was messing about with their dreams? That's still the idea of a guy that just mucks with people's sense of reality while they're asleep. It just makes them not know what's real or what's not. And, yeah, it's quite spooky.
The Dream Lord.
Yeah, that guy that's in Captain America, but he's German in that.
Okay.
Little round fellow.
Yeah, I can't think. Toby Jones?
That's the one, yeah.
Okay. Cathy next.
Oh. Well, sort of a two-part answer. When I was little, I really was terrified of the Autons, the original 80s ones. They were very realistic. But the later ones, I didn't fear so much. But the scariest ones are by far the Weeping Angels. You cannot escape them. Unless you're looking at them, that's it. Game over. Nice death, but, game over, man. Game over.
They kill you nicely.
They make you live to death. Which is kind of nice, but very confusing.
Okay, Chris next.
I was thinking about the Weeping Angels, but I think actually the scariest to me is probably the Silence. I think they're one of the better villains introduced recently. One thing, they look extremely terrifying.
Secondly, they wear suits.
Secondly, they do wear suits, which makes them seem like sort of, I don't know, like the new government or something like that. They've just been out in the sun a bit too long and they melted slightly.
You imply the Tory government's run by the Silence?
It could easily be, because I think the terrifying thing is you sort of forget they're there. And it's just the idea that you've actually had a silence in your room for quite some time and you haven't noticed it, because every time you look away, you forget it. So, yeah. In fact, you basically...
They're really reminiscent of the gentleman from Buffy in Hush.
Mm.
Just as terrifying.
And they don't kill you nicely either. At least the Weeping Angels kill you nicely. The Silents just sort of kind of zap you. And don't really say why. They just sort of... like, you're getting murdered today. Yes, but why? You're there.
Okay, Chris, you've yet to answer. I was trying to make a silence forgetful joke there.
Okay.
It didn't work.
No. You can edit it around that.
We'll fix it in the edit, it's fine. Edgar!
Actually, my response has only come recently, and I'm going to say the Great Intelligence. And this actually is formed from not just the recent episodes, but actually from the past ones as well. Because recently we've had the recovery of the Web of Fear, the story from Patrick Troughton's era. And it was only recently discovered. I watched it recently, and it's actually terrifying. It's this disembodied, whispery voice taking control of Yeti, which are essentially robots with lifeless eyes and a terrifying scream. It's actually the first time I actually sort of was taken back a bit in Doctor Who and was like, oh, that's actually really quite creepy. So
Okay.
I'm going to say the Great Intelligence, which is essentially a lifeless mist with a really creepy voice that takes over things.
It's still pretty creepy when it's Richard E. Grant.
But that's why I decided to include the new one as well. But tell you what, that 60s Web of Fear as well is pretty terrifying.
They're not just Yeti, they're underground Yeti, just to make it slightly British.
Yes.
Oh no, not the underground. I could have coped if they were out in the open air.
Just wait till the tube station at Charing Cross, and then the Yeti comes along, and you jump on board, and you find yourself at the next tube station.
And they're still more manageable than Millwall fans.
Okay, question number 6 now. Who has the best outfit from the show's history? Edgar.
This is a recent one as well, because my favourite outfit's been very recently, and it's from the prequel The Night of the Doctor. I actually really love Paul McGann's outfit as the Doctor in there. It's like this really sort of battered but regal at the same time clothing, as if he's sort of worn it for a while and it's somehow got really tattered and muddy, but at the same time it's still so elegant, and this wonderful sort of long coat and sort of neck scarf that he has with it. It kind of reminds me a little bit like a more battered version of Captain Malcolm Reynolds' outfit from Firefly.
See, it reminded me of Edward Tudor Pole in Crystal Maze. Because of the boots.
That's not what I thought of, to be honest.
No, they did a really good job on the costume for the 8th Doctor there. Chris.
It's got to be Tom Baker, surely. The most iconic outfit, the hat and the scarf. Someday I will find that scarf, or I'll get my mum to knit it, either way. Because, quite a lot of people who said to me that sometimes that I do just need the scarf and I would be Tom Baker. So, yeah,
Do you
definitely.
have a packet of jelly babies in your pocket at all times?
I do occasionally. There were jelly babies at last Feckle Social. We watched The Room. Dear goodness, I've never seen The Room before. It's so terrible.
An amazing experience. Because it is an experience.
It is. They just have pictures of spoons in their apartment. I don't understand. And really abnormally long landscape shots. Yeah, there are lots of heckles that I learned. But also coming in closely behind Tom Baker is Captain Jack Harkness's outfit, because that coat is amazing. It's just long billowing coats, really. They are
all
awesome.
the points, Chris, all the points.
Thank you.
James, next, please.
Timothy Dalton. Gotta be. I've only seen a few episodes, and his outfit, it was awesome. It's all big and grand, and he's got that cool glove thing. And
Rassilon.
and it's Timothy Dalton.
With his punching metal glove.
I'm not quite sure how Gallifrey was destroyed, but I think it's something to do with drowning in Timothy Dalton's spittle.
Yeah.
That episode had a
It's
lot
not
of
acting if you
spittle in
don't
it.
spit.
Yeah. Okay, and Cathy, best outfit from the show's history.
Well, I was going to go for Wilfred's Christmas antlers, which is but I'm going to have to let that one slide and go for Sylvester McCoy's Doctor's outfit, because it's just full of question marks, and it's just so wonderful. It makes me smile every time I see it. His umbrella is just fantastic, and his little beige hat. I like Sylvester McCoy.
It is one of those outfits that, compared to the Tennant and the Matt Smith and the Eccleston, you kind of look at and go, it's good, but I'm probably not going to dress up in it every day.
Yeah. I really like his umbrella and how it has a question mark handle though.
Yeah.
I love that.
In terms of worst outfit from the show, I think it's got to be Colin Baker's one though.
Who doubted that though?
How the heck would you find something like that? How you can't just make that sort of Colin Baker's sort of outfit.
He doesn't have much going for him, does he? Let's be honest.
Well,
he strangles a companion, they put him in that outfit, and then he didn't come back for the regeneration.
And that outfit, for those that don't know out there, it is just a multicoloured monstrosity. It's like Joseph's amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, but uplifted, patched a bit, and then put on a doctor.
Question 7. Give me one example of Doctor Who outside the television show that people should get hold of and look into further. And we'll start with James here.
Does that 90s Paul McGann film count?
Yeah?
Because the film itself wasn't exactly brilliant, but like I say, if you like Paul McGann, I quite like Paul McGann. He's worth watching.
Okay, and Chris next.
Sticking on a Paul McGann theme, I think all the audio books, because apart from the film and obviously the 6-minute short that he's done recently, there isn't a lot to watch of Paul McGann, but he did a lot of 8th Doctor novels and he's done a lot of audio plays, so I think those are sort of quite good, because then you get a bit more of the 8th Doctor. I think the audio plays in general are quite good, but I've also read some of the novels, the books they've done. There was one involving the Daleks, where they have Dalek X, who is even more evil than your average Dalek. So that one's quite good. Yeah, I think reading the books is always quite good to sort of just see, how the Doctor Who universe can be expanded, and that it's not just a format for television. Part of its appeal is that it works through a lot of different genres.
Okay, and Cathy.
Well, for me, there's 2 YouTube videos necessary to have a little look up. One of them is a Doctor Puppet series by Alyssa Stern. It's absolutely brilliant. I've been watching the behind the scenes making of it, and she takes about a week to a month to film and create all these little adventures about Dr. Puppet, and the moment I think he's just encountered the Master and something crazy is going to happen, as it always does. The other one is the comic relief special from the 80s with Rowan Atkinson in it. I think that's necessary to check out, just for
the curse of
giggles.
Fatal Death, yeah.
Yes, the curse of fatal death. But Dr. Puppet, definitely, absolutely brilliant.
Okay, and Edgar.
Is actually there's a story called Sharda, which, put it into context really, in the late 70s there was one of Tom Baker's stories was called Sharda, but it started to be filmed and it was cancelled because of lots of strikes going on at the time, so it is sort of never completed. Years later, as of about last year I think, they finally Gareth Roberts finally wrote a novelisation of it and brought it up to date, and then released an audio version of this, which I'm going to recommend. This is the version I'm going to recommend. The audio version of the book, Sharda, is brought up to date. It was originally written by Douglas Adams, updated by Gareth Roberts, and read by Lala Ward, who played Romana, the second Romana. It's amazing. It's witty. It's witty, at the same time it's brilliantly serious, and it sort of involves like the Doctor in Cambridge at the same time, just sort of battling off this sort of alien who has this fear and is absorbing knowledge from different people, and it just sort of gets out of hand, but it's brilliant. I highly recommend it out of anything.
Okay, so time for the scores at the end of the second round. In last place on 22 points it's James.
Woo!
On 25, it's Chris and Edgar.
Ooh.
And on 26 of the lead, it's Cathy.
Woo! Yay!
Question number 8. Who is your favourite Doctor? We'll start with Cathy.
Well, it seems to be a running theme with all of my questions at the moment. I have 2, but my most favourite Doctor
Pick 2.
I know.
Pick 1.
But technically the other one isn't canon, so it's okay. He was my first Doctor, Peter Cushing. Why? But my favourite Doctor is 10, because he's just so dark and yet so brilliant. He just encapsulates everything I feel that the Doctor is. He's like the fire and ice and the rage of the sun, so to speak. You know, he is everything, and yet he's so lovely. And his hair's good. I'm a girl, I'm sorry.
Okay, Chris next.
I'm going to go with, and actually this kind of leads back to the examples of Doctor Who outside the TV show that people should watch. I really like Peter Davison, and I feel like if he was to come back now, he'd still be just as good a Doctor. He's actually quite a good age to be the Doctor. But he did a sort of, I think it was a charity special called Time Crash in 2007, where David Tennant's TARDIS and his TARDIS get sort of fused together. And they just have a sort of brilliant sort of banter between each other. And there's just one bit where Peter Davison just sort of appears to realise who the 10th Doctor is, and then he's just go, "Oh no, you're a fan." So, yeah, but it's just about even sort of 20, 30 years, he's still very much into the role of the Doctor. He hasn't forgotten how to do it at all. It's just very natural. And he sort of makes decorative vegetables that are effortless. And the other brilliant thing about Peter Davison, I think, is the sort of the massive sort of mind flips that you get given when you realise that David Tennant is the son-in-law of Peter Davison, because he's married Georgia Moffat, who played the Doctor's daughter in another episode. So the Doctor married the Doctor's daughter and is also the Doctor's son, and yeah, so much
That's fantastic.
wibbly wobbly timey wimey. Also, Georgia Moffat went to school with the 6th Doctor's daughter, so yes, just to throw in an extra dimension there.
Okay, Edgar.
Sylvester McCoy is my choice. Highly underrated. I adore Sylvester McCoy's Doctor. He's just this small man, basically taking on a big universe. And I love how his tenure of the series has lots of secrets come back to him. There's just a lot of secretive layers that get added. You know, is he more than just a Time Lord? Did he really create the method of time travel that Time Lords know? He sort of adds all of these layers to it, and he's brilliantly played as well. And he doesn't run around like John Pertwee's 3rd Doctor. He doesn't talk his enemies to death like Peter Davison's 5th Doctor. He actually manipulates all of his enemies into undoing themselves, and I love that. It's really dark. It's like, what's that, Davros? What's that? Yeah, you have the hand of Omega, and you're gonna go back to your own planet and rule time and space? No, you're gonna send it into your own sun, because I manipulated you to do that, so you've destroyed your own planet. Things like that, it's just brilliant. And I love how in the story like Curse of Fenric, he's not afraid to break the faith of Ace in order to beat the villain, because it's based on faith. So he just cripples her by telling her that she's absolutely worthless, and the only reason he picked her to go in the TARDIS was because it was of use to him. So it breaks her faith in her, and she gets absolute wreck, but it's again another manipulation. He just seems to play a game all the time, and Sylvester McCoy plays it wonderfully, so that's why he's my favourite Doctor.
It is quite funny when he mocks Davros.
Okay, and
Limited
James.
breast pudding.
I quite like Christopher Eccleston. I don't think people give him enough credit. He just sort of gets paved over, and I quite like his leather coat. He's quite cool. God damn it, I like the man.
He was a very good Doctor as well.
It's just the fact he's not coming back.
He made it pretty clear that he only wanted to do one series, but he doesn't have like that many ill feelings towards the show. He's just, I don't know, he just wants to keep very distant to it for whatever reason.
It would be nice if he just came back briefly, just so that they could have John Hurt regenerating into him. That would be nice.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Question number 9. One of the big things in the modern series is the fantastic Murray Gold soundtrack that accompanies each episode. But what is the single greatest piece of music from this show? And we'll start with James on this round.
I have no idea. Like I say, I've only seen a few episodes, and I don't really listen to the music, to be honest. So the theme tune.
Stunning answer.
Okay, and Chris next.
I am going to go with the theme, but it's a very specific theme. It's the theme to the 5th series. I think it's very, very excellently reworked. I just like the fact that the sort of drumming pattern they put into that. If I'm ever watching the 5th series, I can't help but do the drum pattern along. So yeah, there's also quite a good sort of the white woman wail they do. It's very simple, but it works very nicely in sort of creating an atmosphere. So yeah, even though it's sort of used over and over, Rachel's sort of given me that answer, by the way. Yeah.
Okay, and Cathy next.
For me, it's always going to be I don't know if it's Rose's theme, but it's the theme at the end of Army of Ghosts when they're
You stole my answer.
When they're parted by the wall. I'm really sorry, Edgar. We can share the answer.
It's okay. Yeah, we'll share it. The tune is called Doomsday, and it's really haunting, but beautiful at the same time.
Mm.
And it starts playing pretty much as soon as sort of the rift, the void sort of closes up, and it just shows the Doctor on one side of the wall and Rose Tyler on the other side. And it's just starts with the sort of very brief piano twinkles, and then goes into a very sort of melodic but sad tune, which builds up throughout violins until eventually come to the end at Bad Wolf Bay when they say their goodbyes. And it's just an amazing piece of music, to be honest. And it's the only time it's played. It never seems to play at any other point.
No. It's quite interesting on the Confidential for that, because they were expecting Murray Gold to be going a completely different direction with it.
Yeah.
If you compare the leaving theme of Amy and Rory, for example, how that's sort of quite... It's a good piece of music, but it's quite cliched, and it has that sort of crescendo and dramatic rise. Doomsday is completely the other way, as it is just that sort of beat, just sort of steadily going on.
It does, and actually after sort of the crescendo in Doomsday, it brings it right back down to a very quiet level. It just sort of carries on, and that's beautiful in itself.
Okay, question number 10 now. What for you is the Great Doctor's greatest speech or monologue? And we'll start with Cathy.
One of my favourite speeches, just because I believe it's in the Christmas Invasion, and it's just because he's basically just woken up, and he's already straight on the ball, and and Chris, you might be able to help me on this one, it's after he's killed the main guy, and he goes, when you go back out into space, you're all over the stars,
and you speak to the planet. Yeah.
And it's just brilliant, because you know that's he's right in his purpose, he's right, you get out there and you bugger off.
Yeah.
Okay, James?
Just that little bit when David Tennant's regenerating and he says, I don't want to go. Because it's quite sad, isn't it? Bless his cotton socks and his little tatty trainers.
Actually, they're Converse.
Oh, there you go. They're tatty.
I love the level of research James has done for this week.
Well, I was at work till 10 last night, so I couldn't be bothered.
Okay, Edgar, greatest speech by the Doctor.
My choice is one that dates back to the 70s, all the way back to Genesis of the Daleks, which starts actually as to touch these two strands together and the Daleks are finished. Have I that right? And it's a beautiful speech, and it sort of goes through the motions basically of saying, like, many future worlds would become allies just because of the fear of the Daleks, and the final responsibility is his. And he comes up with this whole sort of comparison, like if he was from the future and went back to the past and found a child that would grow up to be an evil dictator and kill millions of lives, and then he was told he had to kill that child to stop that, could he do it? And the answer is no. In the end, he can't. He literally can't bring these two strands of wires together that will blow up the Dalek incubator room, that will destroy them for the future. He can't do it, because not only is it genocide, but also because it will make him just like a Dalek himself. And all of the allies in the future will become enemies again because they're not allied over their fear of the Daleks. And that speech encompasses all of that wonderfully and makes the Doctor who he is. So that's why I choose that.
Brilliant answer. And Chris, last of all. Now, being a Feckler, are you going to actually reenact the speech?
I suppose I could do. I think it's just a bit with Harriet Jones, like I was saying with the Christmas invasion, where he just goes, don't challenge me, Harriet Jones, because I'm a completely new man. I can bring down your government with a single word. And Harriet Jones goes, I don't think you're quite capable. Like, no, you're right. Not a single word. Just 6. 6 words. 6. And he goes over to Alex and just goes, don't you think she looks tired? It's very, very clever.
I just got goose pimples at what it would have been like if Chris was the 10th Doctor.
I just went over to David Cameron's aide and just went, do you think he looks tired?
Somebody should.
Nick Clegg, you mean?
Or Nick Clegg. Well, he does look tired, to be fair. Yeah. I mean, Matt Smith has quite a few good speeches.
He's gone with Pandorica Opens.
I was about to say the Pandorica one. Yeah, then do the one smart thing, and let somebody else try first.
If I was to choose a second favourite, though, it wouldn't even be the Pandorica speech. Despite its flaws, I really like the speech at the end of Rings of Akaten.
Yes, that one is amazing, and a great piece of acting as well to deliver it.
In terms of speeches that aren't by the Doctor, I think River Song's speech, where she's sort of going the man who can make armies turn at the mention of his name. I think that one's really good. You make them so afraid. So yeah.
I think River Song delivers a really good one in Day of the Moon, where she says, this Doctor would just come out of the sky, drop down, and basically ruin her life. And she says, like, one day it may kill her. And it's like,
yeah.
The foreknowledge that we know that she dies in their first meeting.
Yeah.
Time for the final scores before the final round. On 34 points and crawling his way back up, it's James.
Woo!
35, it's Cathy and Chris.
Still.
And on 37, it's Edgar.
Yay!
A slim lead going into the final round, which this week will revolve around the subject of Doctor Who merchandise. Our panellists will have to present to the panel a piece of Doctor Who merchandise that does or does not exist. So Ed, as you have the lead, you can pick the running order.
Let's see. Let's have Chris first. Cathy second. Yeah, I'll go last. James third, and then me last.
Okay, so Chris, Doctor Who merchandise. What have you got?
Doctor Who helicopter. That's it.
Doctor Who helicopter. Is it remote controlled?
No, it's just one that sort of has characters with it, and just it's not remote controlled.
Okay, Cathy, what is your piece of merchandise?
I would like to present to the panel the Ride on Dalek. Sit in it. You get to ride a Dalek around town. It's pretty good.
Okay, and James?
I've gone for Dalek oil. It's garlic oil, but the bottle is shaped like a Dalek, and the oil comes out its little plunger thing.
It sounds delectable. Or Dalekable.
Oh god.
I have to get a pun in there somewhere.
Okay, and Ed last of all.
Dodge the Dalek board game.
Dodge the Dalek.
Board game, yeah, where you go across the board to the secret city and join resistances, and you get too close to the core of the Earth and miss a turn. There we go.
Okay, so we've got a Doctor Who helicopter, a ride on Dalek, Dalek oil, and Dodge the Dalek board games. Okay, so Chris, which of those do you think's true or false?
Riding Dalek and Dodge the Daleks are true, and the Dalek oil is false.
Okay, Cathy?
I really love if the board game is true, so I'll say that's true, and the helicopter and the oil are fake.
And James?
I think the board game and the helicopter are fake. The Ride on Dalek is real.
Okay, and Ed last of all.
I think the helicopter is so ridiculous it has to be true somewhere. I think the Ride of Dalek is false, and I think the oil is also false.
Okay, alright, so let me add the bonus points on. It's always harder when there's 4.
Mm.
For some reason it just seems to throw me trying to add them on.
I wonder if Alex has got round to making those Doctor Who condoms yet.
I did wonder that. Not for any personal use.
Yeah, that would be quite interesting. Do you think they transcend time and space and they're bigger on the inside?
Warning, may cause rifts.
Aww. Okay, right, so I've done the bonus points now. So, Doctor Who helicopter.
It's not true.
Ugh.
It's as fake as they come.
Ugh, you made it sound so ridiculous. I thought it could be true.
No. I actually went onto the website and looked, and I Google searched Doctor Who fake merchandise, and that was one of the examples, sort of showing to what lengths people will go to make money off Doctor Who by creating fake merchandise.
Okay, so that's 2 bonus points for Cathy and James there.
I'm gonna lose again.
Ride on Dalek.
Is completely true. It's a child's toy.
Yay!
Yeah, my shop sells them.
Okay, this could be a massive twist right now.
It will be.
I would laugh if I won this.
Dalek oil. James.
It is false.
Yay!
To my knowledge, anyway.
Yeah.
That's points all around for everybody there, apart from James. Okay, and last of all, Dodge the Dalek board games.
Yeah, that's true. Came out of the Dalek mania of the 1960s. So yeah, true.
Awesome. It sounds like something like, it sounds like it should have its theme tune, like Stop the Pigeon, Dodge the Dalek, Dodge the Dalek. What do you want, Sarah Jane Smith? Medal, medal, medal.
Okay, so that we do have a winner, and I shall now do the final scores. In last place on 41, it's a massive shock, it's Edgar.
Yep.
Oh!
Ooh.
On 42 points, it's Chris.
Oh.
Also on 42 points, it's James, which means the winner of our Doctor Who special, fittingly as there's never been a female Time Lord, it's Cathy on 44.
Hey, I'll take
Hey.
that one.
It was her birthday yesterday, so...
Woo! It's a nice late birthday present there.
Yeah.
She went up quite nicely with the anniversary.
We all clubbed together and got you something.
Ah, thank you, gentlemen, thank you.
Yeah, Dalek oil.
Woo! I'm gonna put it all over my salad.
I have actually seen a remote control Dalek because I went to Norwich once and there was a Dalek just going around there tormenting small children by squirting water at them. Instead of having an exterminating ray beam, it just had a sort of water pistol. Oh yes, quite amusing.
I just... These true or false rounds are awful. I do so terribly in them.
They can be deadly. Edgar, I've actually beaten you in a show. It's only
Yeah,
taken...
but I was like, throughout, I was dominating, and then that happened. Again, this happened to me the other show as well.
True or false round is your Achilles heel.
Yeah, it is.
It's taken me 4 shows where I've been in with Edgar to actually beat him. And I still don't win.
By a point.
Hey, I'll take it.
But thank you so much to my guests this week, James, Cathy, Edgar and Chris. We hope you enjoy Doctor Who special on Saturday 23rd November, 7:50pm.
Yep.
Awesome.
Is anybody
I'll
doing a
still be
whole
at
day of
work.
Doctor Who, apart from James?
I'm off to the convention. Woo! To be a geek. I should be watching the whole thing in London.
I'm currently making my way through series 2, so yeah. Idiot's Lantern next.
Good episode.
Yeah, I quite like that one. Unfortunately, I'm working on that day, so...
Oh.
Can I just say I booked the whole week off?
There's no
Really excessive.
hours to book off. Will you be watching Doctor Who all week?
I'll be NaNoWriMoing all week and editing the shows.
Okay.
But yeah, there will be some Doctor Who thrown in as well into the mix. But thank you so much for listening. We hope you've enjoyed this show dedicated to Doctor Who. We will be back in December with a Christmas special, so keep your eyes posted to the Twitter and Facebook pages for information on that. Does anybody want to shout out a catchphrase from Doctor Who before we go?
What?
Nice to meet you, Rose. Run for your life.
Alonzi.
Fantastic!
Spoilers.
You will be deleted.
If we fight like animals, we'll die like animals.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Hello, sweetie.
Bow ties are cool.
As for the physiognomy,
Come along, pond.
reverse the polarity of the neutron flow.
Reverse the polarity of the...
We're both reversing the polarity. Yes.
Reverse the jelly baby of the neutron flow.
We're confusing the polarity.
Yes. Would you like a jelly baby?
Wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey stuff.
So thank you everybody for listening, and have a wonderful 50th anniversary. Goodbye.
Bye.
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 Silence will fall.